So what I did was I took the Common Core standards and I kind of picked anchor standards which I thought would be most beneficial for the population that we work with. And I took each of the standards and I made a spreadsheet for kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. Just looking at informational text right now, you can see there are key ideas and details, craft and structure, integration of knowledge and ideas, and range of reading and level of text complexity. Let's just look at the area right here, integration of knowledge and ideas. So if you look at, there's the kindergarten standard, grade 1, grade 2, and there's grade 3. We just solely focus on grade 3 right now. It says use information gained from illustrations, for example, maps and photographs, and words in a text to demonstrate understanding of the text. For example, where, when, why, and how key events occur. Now, if you take a look at this spreadsheet, I wrote out some essential questions related to integration of knowledge and ideas. I wrote out some vocabulary tools and ideas, as well as low-tech and high-tech tools, and some resources. Taking a look at the essential questions, we might be thinking, or use this as a focus question, what information can we gather by looking at an illustration? Another idea might be, how can we connect illustrations with text? Or perhaps we want to focus on, how can illustrations enhance and contribute to text? Or possibly, how do we identify key information in an illustration and connect with words in the text to comprehend? Some vocabulary related to that might be, what is the meaning of illustration, photograph, graph, diagram? What does connect mean? How do we enhance, and what does that look like? Clarify, contribute. Key information and detail. Events. Just the word events, or perhaps specific events. Comprehend. What does that look like to comprehend? How do we show comprehension? What does that mean? And compare, contrast. Some low-tech tools might be having a classroom discussion, sharing your ideas. Writing out a sentence frame. This illustration shows, and have students verbally explain or write down their answer to fill in the rest. Or perhaps extending it. After they write, this illustration shows, they write another statement, I know this because, using information related to the illustration or text. Highlight or circle key words or ideas in an illustration. In their reader's notebook, write down key ideas related to the illustration shown. And some high-tech tool ideas. Display the image on the Promethean board and have students identify key ideas within the illustration. Perhaps you want to do a verbal compare and contrast of two illustrations. Perhaps you want to display it on the Promethean board and have students discuss or write down a compare and contrast using the two illustrations. Provide an illustration and have students type onto the illustration using connected text. Show a video which connects the illustration. Or listen to an audio recording of the person or event related to an illustration. I have an example here, the MLK March on Washington, which I will show you. Some resources, National Geographic for Kids, World Almanac for Kids, Smithsonian for Educators, Scholastic.com, and Time for Kids. So let's say we want to go back to that grade 3 standard. Use information gained from illustrations and words in a text to demonstrate understanding of the text. Where, when, why, and how key events occur. Let's say your focus was the history of Martin Luther King Jr. Perhaps the students might have read some prior information related to Martin Luther King Jr., or perhaps you're just beginning this lesson and you show students this image. Have a class discussion on what this image might be depicting and what keywords or phrases might be related to this image. Have students just discuss things that they see. Why are some people holding hands? What is this gentleman doing with his arms out? What are those signs referring to? What type of people are on these images? Look at their facial expression. How might they be feeling? Why are some people in the front and who are they? After students have a class discussion or individual discussions about the image, you might want to provide students with some information related to the March on Washington. Going back to our essential question, we might ask students, what information can we gather by looking at this illustration? Or how could we connect illustrations with text? How do we identify key information in this illustration and connect it with words in the text that we just read to help us understand or comprehend? After looking at and discussing the image, you might have students fill in sentence frames. This illustration shows, and I know this because, or perhaps you want them to jot down some key ideas related to the illustration in their reader's notebook. To extend it, you might want to listen to an audio recording of the person or the event related to the illustration. Here is a YouTube video related to the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech. Going back to our Grade 3 Common Core Standard, Integration of Knowledge and Ideas, were the students able to use information gained from illustrations and words in a text to demonstrate the understanding of the text? For example, where, when, why, and how key events occur.